Welcome back to Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. I'm Ollie Hayes, and today I'm bringing the opposition view for our trip to Anfield for the 247th Merseyside Derby at the weekend. Joined today by Jack of Anfield Index. Jack, welcome to the channel. You're actually the first ever guest on opposition view for a Merseyside Derby. So after many years of us doing one, fingers crossed this changes the fortune of Everton at Anfield. But Jack, welcome to the channel. It's good to have you on, pal. So we'll go straight into it with Liverpool. Currently first in the league, 4 wins in four. What are your thoughts on the season so far for Liverpool?
Um, just done a nice one for having me on, mate, as well. Yeah, it's been a weird game, as I just said to you, and obviously on the Anfield Index pre-show as well, mate. We're top of the league, mate, but I think even you as neutrals, when you've watched it, very disappointed was certainly, obviously, the Atletico Madrid game as well, but we're picking out points, mate, and I'm not going to be picking and choosing. Come what the end of May, the back end of the season, maybe we can be a bit more critical as well, mate, but for all of us, especially Liverpool fans as well, mate, to say I've been pleased would be very much underestimated, really. But yeah, it's 12 points on the board, mate. Can't get any better. But the performance is really just very strange, to say the least.
That's the thing, isn't it? You're not sort of playing well, or sort of as well as you have been in recent seasons, but you're still picking up points somehow. And then last night as well, obviously the Atletico Madrid game, which you mentioned there. What were your thoughts on that? Obviously a late winner by Virgil van Dijk. What were your thoughts of that Atletico Madrid game?
I'm probably going to have an heart attack by come what the end of the season anyway if we carry on this form, like, mate. But like a majority of Reds. But yeah, it was first 10, 15 minutes, fantastic. I know, obviously, dominating in terms of certain spells of possession as well, but a sloppy goal to switch off. Yeah, it's such an avoidable 2 goals as well, mate. But that's football. You can switch off, but it wasn't good enough for me in certain elements of our game. I know we've got 12 points, but I think if you go into the derby, if you go into a City game or Arsenal in the next couple of weeks, in a lot more further down in the roads anyway. But yes, we beat Arsenal. It was a solid result. Obviously, Dominic Szoboszlai again. Usually Arsenal that rely on set pieces, but we got a free kick in that one, mate. But yeah, it was. I'm made up. We got the results. Get them out the way. You'll know as a neutral watching. If anyone's watched Atletico Madrid, it's just a horrible game to play in, really. And I'm pretty sure we might have one of them on Saturday as well. But it's yeah. You can't complain, really, mate. Maximum points so far in the season, but yeah, the performances certainly do need to drastically improve in the coming weeks.
Well, I'm hoping we do make it as difficult as Atletico Madrid made it to you. Yeah. At least if we get to added time, somehow we might be able to lift the curse of you scoring in the past the 80th minute every single game this season. Ridiculous. If we can do that, I'll be absolutely buzzing. But moving away from sort of on the pitch matters now. If you look at your transfer business this summer, you've made a lot of signings for a lot of money. A lot of people have been touting around big fees on whether it be on social media or on various news platforms. The big fees, the big sums that you've spent have been, they've really been amplified, haven't they? What do you make of your transfer business this summer? Are you happy with it? Are you happy that you spent that amount of money? What's sort of your overall thoughts on it?
To say I'm not surprised, I'd be lying. Because you've probably got a couple of Liverpool mates or family members or whatever, people that you know, and it's obviously Chiesa was the only signing last season, really. Yeah. The expenditure was always there. Liverpool's revenue, not just on the field performances, really, but in terms of the board level, obviously the stands that was built, the extra expenditure that's coming into the football club. It's pre-Jurgen Klopp. We were a million miles away from where we are now, but last 10 years have been fantastic. But it's been a gradual progression, mate. I think obviously you're winning the league as well. £300 million recouped in terms of we sell really well, mate. It's absolutely ridiculous how we do it, but we've got some of the best people, football and operating people in terms of the sporting director role as well, Richard Hughes, Michael Edwards as well, the good football and people that fully understand every facet of football, really. But it's a massive driving point as well. But Isaac, a great signing. No need to explain what, and everyone knows him anyway. Giovanni Leone for 25, 30 odd million as well. An up and coming. I'm going to be honest, I haven't seen much of him anyway. The highlights, but he's very highly regarded from Parma. Ekitike, we've got a younger version of Isaac, really, in terms of when you look at statistical analysis. Ticks all the boxes in terms of his age category as well in regards to European football. So one for the now and one for the future as well. Two, and Milos Kerkez and Viets. The fact that we've gone and smashed our records twice in one season and made up, but if you want to be consistent to the top, even when Everton and Liverpool were going for league titles a very long time ago as well, but you need to spend to be on top. Spending right is obviously the key point anyway, but to continue the build and the momentum that we've had over the last 10-year period as well, obviously winning the league twice, but we've just always been in that contention. I remember like a lot of Liverpool fans, that pre-Jurgen Klopp era, it seemed that we'd compete for the league every like 5-6 years as well, but it wasn't really sustained title pressure than we've seen, especially under Arne Slot as well. But yeah, our game's just evolved, mate. But yeah, made up, mates. Long may it continue, but I don't think we will be going a bit mad. I'd be very surprised if we have a similar window next season, maybe, but I think we'll spend. But yeah, made up, mate. Buzzing. I think we all are.
One thing that you did touch on was obviously how well you do at getting fees for your youth players, whether you bring them through the academy or you sort of buy really cheap and sell more expensive. There is sort of like a Liverpool tax, isn't there, on all the players that you send out the door. There's somehow you manage to get massively elevated fees for them. I don't know how you do it, but I think a lot of clubs, probably including Everton, will want to replicate that model and want to sort of replicate those fees that you do get for youth players, because it's such a gold mine. It is such cutthroat football, academy football, that there's no denying that. But it is such a gold mine, especially in the days of FFP, of getting around that and also being able to spend a lot more. So I think that the model that Liverpool have gone through, I think it probably does have to be commended, and a lot of clubs will want to follow suit in that. But moving away from the transfer business now, you mentioned him briefly, Arne Slot. How happy are you with him? Do you think he's the man for the long term? Are you sort of really behind him?
Yeah, he's completely different to Jurgen Klopp, mate. I don't know if you see many of his interviews, but he's an extremely intelligent man. Like what he doesn't say a lot, but what he does say, he says a lot. If you get me, like if that makes sense. But yeah, he's an extremely good head coach, but in terms of like in any job that we've all been in, it's proper leadership, really. He keeps it simplified, and I think that's so important in the modern game of football. And now too many coaches, certain fella for me at Arsenal, just trying to do too much. But like I think the simplicities of his game, really, in terms of being in a dugout, he requires high standards himself. He's very blunt. If he has a discussion with a player or certain players that have left over his tenure anyway, that have just not really been given an opportunity. If you're not, you've got to be good enough. But if you're not, then you will be moved on, as we alluded to some of the players that have the big fees that we've got. But he's not soft at all. He knows what he wants. He wants to be competing. There will be bumps along the road in the coming seasons as well. It's never going to be as easy as we made it look last season, but I'm intrigued in terms of that. When that situation does arise, if it is this season, if we are come at the back of the season, we are struggling, but we get over the line, I'm excited to see it, mate. But yeah, he's class, mate. He's completely blown me out the water, and every single Liverpool fan, and even neutrals as well. If you'd asked me 12 months ago, would you be doing what you've done over the last 12 months, considering losing a big influence in terms of the dugout and Jurgen Klopp as well. The personality, as much as he winded up non-Liverpool fans as well, but you knew what you were going to get with Jurgen. But he's completely different. He's an elite level tactician. I think that's one aspect for anyone, the neutrals or Everton fans watching as well. Like, that don't watch much at Liverpool really, but it's just little fine tweaks, and most important, I think for me personally, is substitutions. The last couple of weeks, a lot of Liverpool fans, me included as well, are doing, what are you doing as well? But yeah, there's always a method in everything he does, really, and that's really refreshing to see.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I think with you look at these big dynasties of managers, Klopp was obviously in charge for a long time. He won a lot of trophies with you. You look at that, maybe comparing it to what Alex Ferguson had at Manchester United, and that all came crashing down. But it seems like with Slot, he sort of took the reins, didn't really change too much, and then obviously still had that measured level of success. Obviously, it's not on the same scale at all, but I'd maybe compare it to sort of when David Moyes left Everton and we had Roberto Martinez. We had pretty much the foundations that were left by David Moyes for all his defensive work, and then we had Martinez's expansive football going forward, scoring a lot of goals, and then it sort of all unravelled towards the second half of the second season when we got knocked out of the Europa League at Dynamo Kiev. So you might see that, but then again, it's football such a strange game these days that he could just tweak more things and it could really react well. So, but what I would maybe compare it to is it's definitely similar to what we had back in the day. Obviously, it's a much smaller scale with what Everton had, but
it's refreshing that though, Ollie. Sorry, mate, to cut across.
No, it's okay.
That's so refreshing that we've had managers in the past that really care for our football clubs as well. It's not always the case in the Premier League. Moyes, as you said, 10 years plus, and then obviously he's retained now as well. He's the top manager, I feel, obviously winning the trophy with West Ham. Very undervalued, in my opinion. But yeah, I'm made up, mate. And I certainly don't take it for granted. We've had some awful squad players pre-Jurgen Klopp as well, the difficult days as well. But it's just a privilege to watch this Liverpool side every single week. And the ups and downs, and it's our moment now. But I think that's something that as Everton fans, the rivals as well in the city, you want to be up competing with Liverpool. It might not be straight away, but that's for me, if that was Everton top of the league as it was in the 60s and 70s, what you want to be. You want to be there. You want to be competing with your rivals as well.
It'd spice up the Merseyside derbies, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
just
make it a lot better.
I know, yeah. Just before we get on to Everton, we'll talk about your on the pitch matters. Who would you say is a player that we have to look out for on Saturday?
Ryan Gravenberch, mate. I think he's been absolutely ridiculous in regards to his developments. Him coming into the football club from obviously Bayern Munich. I watched a couple of seasons of him in Holland as well, numerous league titles in Holland, but very undervalued in Germany, mate. But yeah, he's a top player, playing in that number 6. Obviously, we did sign him as a number 8 anyway, but just pinpointing what we said with Arne Slot as well. He's a master tactician, but he gets fundamentally, like any coach of any of all of our football clubs, you need a coach that gets the maximum out. You look down the motorway, the M62, a certain manager that's in charge at Manchester United. Yeah, it's all fundamentally the footballing principles, getting the maximum out of your players. But Ryan Gravenberch, mate, and Dominic Szoboszlai, workhorse midfielders. It's not just a case of defensive duties as well, but two very talented midfielders. Alexis McAllister as well. But for me this season, I know the sections of our fan base that wouldn't say that don't rate Ryan Gravenberch anyway, but I think as a neutral, I think this could be the season where everyone in Europe, and especially the Premier League, does take a lot on more notice of Ryan Gravenberch, mate. Salah speaks for himself, mate. Ekitike started well this season. He got a couple of goals, I think 3 goals already. Scored against Crystal Palace in the Community Shield as well. He's very on his toes. I expect Isaac to start on Saturday anyway, mate. But yeah, I'd say Virgil, if it's possible, he's getting better this season. He's aging like fine wine. He's getting older, but he's very much a bit similar with Salah. Salah's become a lot more a bit similar with Messi in terms of when he's progressed his career. Not in terms of quality, but in terms of the age profile of both of those players, where Messi, especially the MLS and obviously the back end days of Paris Saint-Germain, he wants to come to the ball. And I think if you want to shut Salah up, I think obviously you just get close to him, really push him out to the byline. But yeah, I could say Salah, mate, but that's too easy. But I'd say Gravenberch, mate. I think for me, in my opinion, he's been one of my favourite players over the last 12 months. And especially me, Dominic Szoboszlai, I've been a very harsh critic of him. But you've got to be harsh sometimes in terms of you want the players to improve, and he's drastically improved his game over the last 8 to 10 months as well. The Hungarian, but yeah, it's the defense speaks for itself. Kerkez, is he being a bit? It's a bit one of them, mate. I don't know if you've seen on Match of the Day or whatever. He's very full-blooded, very young. I think he's like 22, 23, but he got a yellow card. He's getting silly yellow cards when they're just shaking your head going, what are you doing, lads? It could cost us, as it did with Robbo last season, certain red cards he got. But yeah, I'd say for me, Gravenberch and Dominic Szoboszlai, if you can shut them down on Saturday to stop them from playing, I think you might have a good chance, really.
So plenty to be worried about is what you're saying.
Yeah, just a bit anyway. But football's football, lads. Anyway, anything can happen. But you never know.
Just obviously, we focused on it a little bit on over on your channel, talking about my thoughts with Everton. What are your overall thoughts on Everton this season as an outsider looking in? Obviously, our transfer business, our squad overall, David Moyes. I know we've talked about David Moyes a little bit, but what are your overall thoughts about Everton this season?
Been very impressed, mate. Seeing obviously on Match of the Day and all that. Obviously, Dewsbury Hall, I think he's been given an opportunity now coming into this Everton side. He's a lad with a lot of quality, and it's just started saying of like when you watch football in general, like you look at Salah at Chelsea, didn't work out for him. Grealish done well, won a couple of league titles, but he's come into Everton now and he's been given the reins really down that left hand side. Such a very talented player, even if he is like 30 odd years old, Jack Grealish. He's a phenomenal human being, really. Stuff he does off the pitch as well, but very talented player on the pitch as well, and a top lad. And that's certainly if Everton are wanting to build into the coming seasons as well, you need those type of characters. I think obviously I've just mentioned a couple of the quality that Liverpool have, which the people that you have in the dressing room, really, that the leaders. Tarkowski is certainly one of them, and pretty sure you've got a couple more throughout your spine, your side as well, Pickford. So yeah, I've been pleasantly surprised, if I'm being honest. I didn't expect us to start this quick, in all honesty. 7 points already on the board, just very good standing. Obviously, you should all be disappointed with the Leeds results anyway, but that happens. We lost to Forest last season in a difficult game. It happens, mate. But yeah, I think good progress in terms of the recruitment from an outside point of view. It looks like the transfers that are coming in. There was Milik Fofana was linked a couple of weeks ago prior to the end of the season. That's the type of profile Everton need to be identifying and bringing into the football club. Ndai's been a revelation since he's come into Everton. Really top player. The key point for you lads, as you'll know, and Everton fans, is keeping them fit. Similar with us, if we can keep Salah and Virgil van Dijk fit, we'll have a very good shout this season, mate. But yeah, pleasantly surprised. You're just screaming out for a top level number 9. The days of Ferguson, but mainly Lukaku in the Premier League era. I think if you can get a top striker in that can guarantee, I know it's difficult getting guaranteed goals in the Premier League, but it's like gold dust really. But if you can bring in a consistent number 9 over the next couple of seasons, or maybe January or whatnot, I think you could possibly be pushing for Europe. If you have a good couple of run in the cups anyway, you never know. Yeah. As Forest have shown last season, Newcastle just can be very weird. They're balancing.
It's doable, isn't it? It's doable.
Yeah, so
I think as we said on your channel, didn't we? I said we're probably a top quality number 9 away from being in that top 6, maybe definitely in the top 8. I think the front 3 behind the striker is definitely worthy of that. But where do you think Everton can finish this season? I know I predicted between like 9th and 10th over on your channel. Where do you think that Everton can finish?
Certainly mid-table, 7th, 8th, really, mate. I think we've seen last year, like we ordered as neutrals, European spots, obviously Forest, Palace as well. They're a little run in the cup, you never know. And that can very much be the springboard, mate. As where Newcastle was it 2 seasons ago when he got Europe playing Paris Saint-Germain, and then he dissipated really in terms of the top 5 position. But anything's possible, mate. If come at the end last season, everyone was just losing. It was like, does anyone want top 5? West Ham a couple of seasons ago when they had those 2 back-to-back seasons under Moyes. Very, very, very close for getting European football as well. So yeah, it's home form will be key for your lads, as it is with Liverpool. Can't remember the last time we lost at home, apart from obviously the Forest game as well. But yeah, if you can get a good run, anything's possible, mate. And long as we doesn't start on Saturday, that's all good.
Yeah, hopefully it does. So sort of going back to your side now, what's your likely lineup for the game? What's going to be your starting line? But obviously you mentioned the difficulties between Kerkez and Robertson. That's probably one of the key talking points in terms of your lineup. What would you say your lineup's going to be for Saturday afternoon?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'll start with the back line anyway. Alisson Becker, it's good to see him come back from injury over the last pre-season anyway. But I'd say the Alisson Becker, Frimpong's just come back from injury anyway. But don't be surprised if you do see Conor Bradley anyway. But I'd expect Frimpong, Canate, Virgil van Dijk, Andy Dobbo. I expect him to start, as he alluded to. He's just it's like a jack in the box, really, Kerkez. You just don't know what he's going to do week to week. He's a very talented player, but he just needs to rein in that excitement there on a footy pitch, which he'll be able to do. Gravenberch and Szoboszlai, I expect it to be a double pivot of Ryan Gravenberch and McAllister. And I anticipate Florian Wirtz. I personally would. Not that Gakpo's been bad. Depends what Liverpool fan you speak to anyway, but I don't think he's been too bad. But I'd like to see Wirtz off the left-hand flank and then play Dominic Szoboszlai in behind Isaac and then Salah on the right-hand side, mate. Yeah, that would be my starting 11, mate. Obviously, we'll have probably Rio and Gamua and other players on the bench that have impacted so far. Hopefully we don't leave it until like the 80th, 90th minute or whatever. I don't want to, but yeah, we've obviously got a couple of players, Ekatike, and I think this season maybe might go with two strikers, Isaac and Ekatike in certain games. But yeah, I think that'll be the starting 11 from my point of view, miss.
Interesting. Well, it's going to be a tough game, isn't it, for Everton? That's one thing that I'm picking up from this. But just to end now, we've got a couple of more broader questions. One's a completely random question that we always end on with these opposition views. But before we get into that, who is your favourite Liverpool player and why? And it can be anyone, old or current.
Oh, you know who I'm going to say, but that's the obvious answer. I go with Salah, mate. I think in the modern era of football, he's been absolutely instrumental. I think obviously the years he had in Chelsea and in Italy as well. But for me, everyone was going, one season wonder. I think we're on season 8 or 9 now. And he's been getting double digits and he's getting older. I think we will see a slight drop off, but he's been a revelation, mate. I think Everton have got a rich history in terms of legends as your football club down the ages and similar Liverpool. I think both football clubs will be very blessed to have the great legends we have. But that's the high expectations that both teams have. But yes, Salah, he's been so instrumental as well. Could have been easy to go for the lads. Stevie anyway, well, that's just a boring answer. But yeah, I go with Salah and then maybe shout out, obviously, Van Dijk speaks for himself, but Alisson Becker as well. I think, as I mentioned on the last preview on Anfield Index, Pepe Reina against Andy Johnson, the pushing into this. Yeah, we've had some. Pepe Reina was all right for 2-3 seasons, but yeah, Alisson Becker speaks for himself. He just fills that goal with so much confidence. Some of your lads were Pickford as well, just having a confident goalkeeper, and you know you're not going into weekends panicking of like who you've got in between the sticks anyway, mate. But yeah. It's
a good base in it. So like with Pickford, we always don't have to worry about that because he can pull out a wonder save from anywhere and you don't have to worry what your keeper's doing. I think so many teams in the league worry about what their keeper's doing. So I think Alisson's a good shout for you as well. Moving to the random question now that we always ask and we always end on. What is the elite condiment to have with your chips?
Condiments. As you can see, I'm a bit round myself. I love my food. Probably a bit too much, but it is what it is. Yeah, I'd say garlic mayo, lad. I'd say it's typical Scouse scran anyway after the game, or obviously Merseyside's quite, especially in Goodison and around Goodison anyway, and obviously around Anfield as well. Your curry and chips, and that's a fan favourite for both sides anyway. But yeah, garlic mayo, mate. Probably have too much anyway, but you know, you only live once. That. Yeah, you only live once. Enjoy it.
You can get behind that. Listen, Jack, thank you very much for coming on. I would wish you best of luck for Saturday, but listen, maybe not the best of luck. Maybe wish you a little bit of luck for it, but not too much. But Jack, thank you very much for coming on. It's been a pleasure to have you on, and that is all from us today on the Toffee Blues. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll speak to you soon.